welcome to the Modern Contractor Roundtable, guys. Today we have Mark Campbell speaking. He is a marketing and technology whiz and has been in the industry for 10 plus years, uh, founded three businesses within that space, and is currently the digital MC. And he is here to talk to us today about how we can supercharge our businesses through automation and marketing and branding and all of it. So come with your questions, your inquiries, your what's it called? Conflicting positions, and let's have a good discussion. So, Mark, I'm gonna spotlight you. Let me pin you, as a matter of fact, and I'll pin myself. And I want to start first of all by just even asking you, how did you get into? How did you come to create the digital MC? What has that journey been like?
So I graduated UC, so from Cincinnati, with like a design degree because I loved like digital art, things like that. Ended up realizing like that is not a tangible way to grow in the marketplace. So I got into software development, building front ends for applications and things like that, really around the marketing space. And so marketing was always interesting to me because at the end of the day, it's kind of this mix of branding and solving a problem. And so I ended up launching a business called Storyports back in probably 2008. It was email automations and things like that. And then kind of had the digital MC was my brand actually from college. I just thought it was a really cool name, Mark Campbell MC. And then just through the years, I've always kind of been building that brand. Because much like a contractor, you moonlight when you're a developer or a marketer, right? It's what you do. So I was able to kind of build that brand and my clientele over, my 8 years of starting that company. And then I decided to launch 2 years ago, the digital MC officially, and just make that kind of my main squeeze and take kind of what I've learned over the last decade, and kind of build into the space. So, yeah.
Very awesome. I love that. I actually never put two and two together with the MC. I thought like MC, like, EMCEE, and then yeah, very cool.
Well, that's the idea. Like you
Right.
master ceremonies, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, look, you come to me with your problem. At this point, I've seen enough and done enough and have enough connections where it's kind of like a general contract. It's like, look,
Mm,
what do you need to do? We can build a team to do it. So,
yeah,
you know,
I love that.
yeah.
And so, as someone who is working in the trade space in this adjacent kind of field, what do you feel like is one of the top marketing slash automation slip ups that you see contractors making?
So, it's interesting because you say what that contractors are making. I've noticed in the last, probably 5 to 6 years, I mean, the push to go digital it was like an option and now it's becoming mandatory.
Yeah.
There's big businesses spending lots of money digitally and they're taking up a large market share and they're creating systems that are just eating the smaller contractors' lunch, right? I mean, look at like Angie's List. I mean, if I talk to another contractor who's frustrated with Angie's List or Thumbtack or Home Advisor, but yet they're still getting all the leads and they're still paying $150 to be in a pool with however many. And so like there is opportunity here. And it's becoming, what I've noticed is it's becoming more and more table stakes. Like if you want to sit at the table, you have to have some sort of digital. And so I think one opportunity is simply, look, a solid Google business profile, right? Like let's put table automation in tech for a sec. Really just having a solid Google business profile and having some copy on your website that says explicitly what you do and where you serve can go a long way to just getting recommended in Google. Like just full stop before any other marketing's done, having that clearly defined on your website and your Google business profile, just it's such an easy thing to do
Yeah.
that can have such a strong return, like in 30 days, that it's kind of like a no-brainer. And so many contacts I've talked to don't know the analytics on their website. They don't know where people coming from. They just know their phone rings, which is good. Like that's great, right? We just want to keep it that way all year round. So
Yeah. So that kind of segues into a question I have for the contractor, because what I've encountered a lot is some people, I am booked out, a month or two. Why? And, my profile is not optimized. My website is my wife's who made it on Squarespace. That's my husband's business. Like, what is, why would I invest more in this if things are going fine right now? And what is your response to that?
Yeah, well, look, if you're booked out 3 months, you need to raise your prices. You know, I mean, that's like number one. I would say like, okay, cool. Like that's good. That's great runway to say if you could snap your fingers tomorrow and change the way you do business or the type of customer, like what would you do? And usually what I hear a lot is like we spend a lot of time bidding, you're booked out, but part of that, and again, everyone's different, and I get this, right? But there's also a lot of that time. One of the reasons you don't have time to go fulfill these jobs is you're spending time quoting jobs or parsing through leads or kind of doing admin work, trying to find the right customer. And so it's not like there's 40 hours of production. And again, depending on the size of your company, right? If you've got 10 trucks, it's different than, the solopreneur doing it, with 3 or 4 people in his family.
Right.
But that's often a bottleneck that keeps production inhibited is some of that, like the operation side, just learn like bidding jobs, spending less time quoting, spending less time following up. That can eat away at your productivity. So you might be booked out 3 months, but it might only be like 2 months of work and there's like a month of admin or something like that, right? And the other side of that coin is you might be booked out 3 months, but are those the jobs you want? If you're a deck builder, you don't necessarily want to be repairing railings, right? You want to be doing big, 600 square foot, 700 square foot decks, right? You want to be doing these giant 2-tier pool decks, right? That is a slide coming in, stuff like that. So how can you then market to a customer that lives in the neighborhoods that you want to service, with the needs that you want to fulfill, right? So you have higher margins. Like, is there a service that has a higher margin that you'd rather be pushing rather than just being busy all the time, qualifying and doing not whatever comes your way, but being able to qualify some of that out, being a pro at saying no. So what you say yes to is the stuff that moves your business.
I love that. That whole quantity versus quality. And even how you mentioned when you do have the leads and the jobs, like the admin burden that comes with it if you haven't put some systems in place. So there's a lot floating around about digital marketing online and, get on this platform, do this, and SEO, all that stuff. So you mentioned Google and your website. How would a contractor know if they're in a decent place with those things? Like, what are some good markers that they can be keeping at the front of their mind?
So look, and I'm not here to, sell you back goods either. The reality is like, it's a good day to be a contractor. Like, I mean, there's a lot of traffic coming in. Like, we don't have to mince words here. I mean, we have money. America's doing, I mean, depending on how you look at it, like people have money to spend on their home, and they are. So admittedly, it's not like it's a dry season where we have to be super aggressive. The metric of, is your website doing well? Look, I mean, your Google business profile will tell you how many people have seen it, how many people have interacted with it, and you can get that same thing on your website. And again, this is all free and takes 5 seconds. It's all available to you. Like, you can have analytics, Google Analytics on your website that tells you how many people have visited, what pages they visited, how long they were on your site. So this takes I should say 5 seconds, probably 90 seconds to install on your site. And you can know exactly how they're behaving. And the cool part about this is you can actually, especially if you have like one phone number, there's tools out there like What Converts. And I mean, HubSpot has this, or Dialpad, a lot of these phone companies that provide like voice over IP, things like that. You can actually get unique phone numbers. And I would suggest this for your Google business, right? For your contact page, for your homepage on your website, for your business card. So you can track if you have different numbers for all these, they all forward to the same number, but you can see, look, are people sharing my card? Are they calling from my yard signs? Are they calling from my website? Are they calling from Google business profile? Because they're all technically different numbers, but they all route to the same number. And then you can put tracking through all this. So if you're ever interested to see, like, look, you might think it's all word of mouth, but really it might all be Google business profile. Maybe your yard signs are killing it, but you think people are just referring you all the time. So that's kind of where having that level of data can help you focus your efforts and your marketing. So, and then again, there's tools that do this all day, right? It's very, very easy.
I love that. That's cool. And like the power of data, right? Because I've seen time and time again in my own business, even we think typically we believe we believe what we want to believe, right? I've worked, and this was outside of the contractor space. I worked with somebody in cosmetics, And I was literally looking at her numbers and I could say that this was her best product, but she really wanted this to be her best product because she enjoyed making it. And so that was her best product. And, and it was just fascinating. And I know that we all do it at times. And so, I feel like having that data kind of combats that very human, way of wanting to affirm what we want to believe. So, you were getting into that kind of more nuanced marketing, strategy there, with different call numbers. And for larger companies, I know that's definitely something they do, but you're even recommending for, the smaller solopreneur contractor that this is something that's attainable to them. It sounds like with this software. What are some other, I don't know if it's cutting edge, but perhaps technology procedures that have not necessarily infiltrated into our space that you see could
Sure.
be a huge benefit?
Yeah. So I think it's an like I get it, right? I started a business 2 years ago. When I did, it was just me. Now I've got a team, which is awesome. Um, it's tempting to say, well, look, I'm a small shop, right? These tools aren't for me. I answer my phone and so on and so forth, right? And there's a lot of validity there, but you don't have to be a big business. I mean, it's not even expensive anymore. I mean, tech, because of competition, software is becoming more competitive and prices are going down. So, I mean, look, web chat on your website, you can have AI driven web chat on your website for like $30 a month, right? That you can program to answer a series of questions, and like the AI will respond and then funnel through to getting a quote, calling, booking a meeting. Or if you don't like AI, you can simply just have an auto response. Hey, here's a video. There's like video chat, right? Clicks. It's a video of you saying, hey, welcome to X, Y, or Z. This is what we do. Just glad to see you here. Does any one of these categories fit what you're looking for? Something small like that to give them an experience as opposed to just being a business card.
Mm.
Like your website essentially just being a business card, prompting them to make the next move instead of waiting for them to make the next move. It's just not hard anymore, and it's relatively cheap. So web chat I think is interesting, but you
Yeah.
have to have traffic to have web chat, right? Or else who cares, right? If 10 people are visiting your site in a month, then this is all for the birds. Right? It makes no sense to invest in your website if you're not getting traffic to your website. But you can put chat on your Google Business profile. That'll text your phone, right? So again, if you see 10 people, someone says, look, we'll go back to deck building. I need a deck built. Okay, cool. They Google it. They see 10 deck builders in an area. They all have call. And one says call or get a quote. What do you think they're going to click on? The one that says get a quote. Oh, that's interesting, right? Boom, they'll click that. And you can integrate this right with your Google Business profile. So just standing out just a smidge as a small business can really help kind of tweak it. And so that's, it doesn't have to be big. And putting these leads then into a CRM, connecting it to like a HubSpot or, Go High Level or Keep or whatever you're using to manage your customers. Look, they all have automated follow-ups, right? So when you send your invoice, follow it up with hey, thanks for the job. If you liked it, click here to leave a 5-star Google review, right? And so you can like automate that in your follow-ups, so you don't have to ask for Google reviews all the time and you're forgetting to do it. Put it in your flow. Your CRM customer relationship management software, can automatically send these to people you send invoices to or to your customers. So and then as your Google Business profile gets more and more 5-star reviews, you'll start to get more calls. And so that's, again, this takes almost no time from you. You set it up once, and then your customers will automatically start leaving reviews because it's part of that automated flow, and your business will benefit from it. So I guess the thesis here is, let's say it's like a week of thinking, of planning, of figuring out kind of what we're going to do, and then building a handful of integrations. And then from there, you just keep doing everything you've been doing. And, a lot of the hard work will be done for you. So it's a small investment for a relatively large return.
I love that. I love that because sometimes it can feel overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, I need to overhaul my whole business. And now like it has to be completely AI driven and all this crazy stuff. And, but I love what you're saying. Just supercharging what you're already doing instead of manually asking for Google reviews, add a process in there. And the beautiful thing is if you still want to ask them on site, you can ask them on site, and then you have the email following up, and you don't have to remove yourself from the process. You're just enhancing your brand essentially in that trust. And I love that. So you've been dropping some good gems. I'm really curious to hear what the rest of the community has to say. So I'm going to unpin you and unpin me, and I will stop the recording.